The sentencing hearing has begun for convicted East Area rapist and the Golden State Killer Joseph DeAngelo. DeAngelo appeared in a Sacramento County courtroom where his victims and their families had their moment more than 40 years after DeAngelo's crimes to speak directly to their tormentor. DeAngelo has admitted to committing nearly 50 rapes and 13 murders across the state of California. Because of the sheer number of crimes, his sentencing will take place over the course of 4 days. Today, the focus was on DeAngelo's crimes in Sacramento County. DeAngelo was rolled out in a wheelchair and sat with a mask over his face as he listened to hours of testimony. His victims were very angry and emotional as they described the terror they felt while he tied them up and raped them in their own homes. Many of them said this crime broke their families apart, led to years of fear, and always wondered why he did this to them and if they'd be targeted again. They described DeAngelo as the devil, an animal, and a real-life monster who deserves the highest punishment the law allows. First, DeAngelo heard from Karen Vayer, the sister of the very first rape victim in Sacramento back in 1976. Her name is Phyllis, and she had this to say to this man who has confessed to raping her more than 40 years ago.
On June 17, 1976, I went to bed not knowing that in just a few hours, my life as I knew it would change. I was a normal young woman of 22, happy and carefree. The only dark spot in my young life was the death of my mother 18 months earlier. I was vivacious, fun-loving, a little shy, and I loved life. My father was in Massachusetts visiting his sister, and I was alone in the house. Early on the morning of June 18, 1976, Joseph DeAngelo, henceforth called the devil incarnate, broke into my home, blindfolded me, tied me up, threatened my life with a knife, and raped me. Life as I knew it irrevocably changed that day. That once happy girl became fearful, suspicious, hypervigilant. My sense of safety was shattered. The ringing of the telephone invoked terror, afraid I would hear his voice again when he called to taunt me, as he did in January of 1978. Noises in the night disturbed what little sleep I could manage. I had an alarm system installed in my home and suffered greatly if I ever had to spend a night alone. Years of living like this have adversely affected my health. In 1976, women were treated more like suspects than victims when it came to rape. My sense of importance in this world diminished with this treatment. When I found out that this devil had been captured, I felt relieved, but his capture brought about a rush of memories of the rape, wondering what he did with the things he stole from me, what would happen next. The roles have now reversed. His victims and their families are now free, and his freedom of 40+ years is now revoked. He deserves to spend the rest of his miserable life imprisoned, no more freedom for him. I quote my sister, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become."
And that was one of the victim's sisters. Next, DeAngelo heard the words from Peggy, who DeAngelo raped when she was just 15 years old. Her parents had left her and her sister home alone for the first time when DeAngelo broke into their locked door.
In the early morning of July 17th, 1976, my life was changed forever. I was 15 years old. My parents were out of town and had left my sister and I alone overnight for the first time. We were home inside a locked house where we should have been safe. Mr. DeAngelo broke in and woke up my sister and tied her up. He then came to my room and woke me up with his hand over my mouth. After rolling out of bed and swinging at him, I was hit several times on the head before being tied up, gagged, and blindfolded. We were both threatened, and I was raped multiple times. We were both left with numbness in our hands for several months because our wrists were bound so tight. It hurt to brush my hair because he had hit me so many times on the head. There was so much emotional and physical trauma that I carried with me. My God, We were just high school kids living a normal life, going to school, church group, having friends over. Now, this horrific experience was part of me and who I would become, but we were lucky he didn't kill us. I was the second victim of the East Area rapist in Sacramento. No one knew about the crimes when I was raped, but they continued my entire junior and senior years of high school. Everyone in Sacramento was scared. There was constant talk everywhere, including school. Big headlines in both the local newspapers, the helicopter flying overhead nightly, tape recorder attached to the phone so that we could record if he should call us. All of these were constant reminders of the rape and the fear that wouldn't go away. How could my life ever go back to what I knew before that night in July? My normal teenage years were gone. My safety and security were taken away from me that night, and I would never get that back. I heard him admit to the crime and the rape, and now finally, the end of this trauma is here. He's a horrible man, and none of us have to worry about him anymore.
DeAngelo also heard from Patricia Cosper, who spoke for her mother, Patricia Murphy. DeAngelo attacked Murphy while she was doing laundry at her parents' house. The impact statement described what it was like to go back to that home time and time again in the years that followed her rape.
How I felt about men changed after that night. I no longer cared if I were seen as attractive. I didn't trust anymore. I am blessed to have married my husband 32 years ago. 32 years ago. He is on my healing journey with me. So is my family, except for my parents who have since passed away. My mom didn't want to move, so I continued to visit them there. I celebrated Christmas and other holidays at their house as if nothing ever happened. Sometimes there was no place to sit except on the organ bench he tied me to before he drank my dad's beer and left. Some people are wired wrong, and DeAngelo is one of them. Luck finally ran out for this messed up human being. At least a poor excuse for one. It is my hope that you punish him to the full extent of the law for the horrific crimes he committed. He admitted that he caused all the suffering and misery to so many victims over the past 40+ years. He truly is an evil monster with no soul.
It's been a very emotional day in court. The court is in recess right now and is expecting to return at around 1:30 this afternoon. We will carry the entire sentencing live here on KCRA 3 and on the KCRA 3 app.